In this episode, I'm going to review a new LED projector that I just received today, and we're going to tear it down and see how well this one's built. And it might surprise you as to actually how well this thing is constructed. I was actually quite impressed when I got into this one, because I've seen some shoddy designs, I've seen some good ones, and this one, believe it or not, looks to be a very good design. Let's check it out. The Bomaker S5 is a compact LED projector for home theater use. It has very good color rendition, will accept input resolutions up to 1080p, and has a native resolution of 720p, so 1280 pixels by 720. The unit comes with a remote control and features multiple inputs, 2 USB, an AV input, high definition multimedia input, and a VGA input are all standard, and it comes with a remote control. The compact design and relatively bright light output make this an ideal unit to use out in the backyard or to take camping with you. It's small and compact and delivers an excellent picture. Let's check it out and see how it performs. Okay, the first thing we got to do with the Bomaker is open up the lens. I've got it powered up. Let's turn it on with the remote control. It turns on, and let's get it set up here. Okay, first thing I notice is I've got all the lights on in here. I can actually see the picture with the lights on. It's not great because it's relatively bright in here. I've got a lot of light in the studio. Turn out the lights. It gets much better. AirPlay and screen mirroring we can do. So I should be able to set this up, connect it to my Wi-Fi network, and of course I can plug USB sticks into it and so forth. Settings, let's go into the settings. So my projector is at an odd angle for the screen, so it's that's why the picture's a little bit distorted. It's not an ideal, it's quite low, and I've got it propped up. Color temperature, we can select warm, cool, or medium. We'll leave it on medium. That seemed to look okay. Movie, music, and photo, that's for playing from your USB stick. We'll try that in a minute. AV input for your standard hooking up to like a DVD player or a VCR. VGA for connecting it to a computer. HDMI for connecting to an HDMI port. We'll try that. Let's try screen mirroring. We go into settings first of all. I probably have to set this thing up, so we can actually reduce this display size to, if we need to make the image smaller. That's if it won't fit on the screen and you can't get any closer. Because normally you determine your size by moving the projector closer to the screen. Projection direction. You can have it front, if you're hanging from a ceiling. You can have it if you're using a ceiling front and a projection rear. So we got front projection. This is ceiling rear projection. So if you're mounting it from a ceiling and you're putting it on a rear projection screen. Projection screen front mounted from the ceiling. And then of course rear screen projection if you're using a rear screen and mounting this in a closet, which some people actually do that. They'll set up a closet and they'll put the projector in the closet directly behind a screen. We're on a front screen here. And go into screen mirroring. Now I wasn't able to do screen mirroring because I don't have Windows 10 for one. I don't have an Apple device, and my phone doesn't support screen mirroring. So I wasn't able to do that demo on here. So we're going to jump ahead and plug in the HDMI connector to my cable box and check that out. So here's the picture off of, I just plugged this into my cable box through the HDMI input. I've been trying to get the screen mirroring to work, but my phone seems to be having trouble. We're just looking at the local news here. As you can see, it's got a very good picture. I'm quite impressed. Not quite perfect focus. Let me see if I can, there we go, that's a little better. Just the focus control on it. There's also the keystone adjustment. But it's got sound on board. We can turn the sound up.
His granddaughter is frustrated.
The surgeons are all good to go, operating room is good to go, but there is no beds for recovery.
Intensive care units across the province are at capacity, dealing with emergencies along with COVID-19 patients.
We'll try running some media off of a USB stick and see how it plays the different types of media on USB. Let me go grab a USB stick. I'll put some of my own content on a USB stick and we'll see how it handles that. And then I think that's probably about all I can show you on this thing. We're going to take it apart, show you what's inside this thing. But picture quality wise, hey, it's got a good picture. I'm quite impressed. I've got it on a screen that's probably about, I'm going to say it's probably about 80 inches there. That I'm back about 7 feet from the screen. But the picture quality off it is excellent. Okay, if I press the input button, I'll select USB 2, which is where I've got my USB stick plugged into. And we can pick movies, music, photo. Let's go to photos. And it's called the C drive. It's in a folder called photos. And I've just got some photos in here that I can view. These are pictures that I took. I can tell it to randomize them. I can probably even put music on here too if I select, there's no music in this folder. I'd have to have music in the same folder. I've got the music in a different folder. Hit the return key and it'll just randomly display photos like a slideshow. And the quality of them is actually very good. These are very high resolution images. The projector is projecting them at 720, but these are all really high image quality. Most of these photos were taken on like a 24 megapixel camera. But as you can see, the picture quality of them is actually very good. If I bail out of that, go back to music. Oops, I had to select music. So I'm going to return. I'll go to music. Again, it's in the C folder because I have everything in different folders here. I only got a few tracks on here, but there we go. I think if I go back and put the folder, put the music into the same folder as the photos, it should be able to play the music at the same time. So let's just try that. Okay, once again, I'll select the photos. And now I've got music in the same folder. So if I start playing it, and I tell it to play them in random, and then select music, now it'll play the music that's in the folder along with the photos. Which is kind of neat. You can set up a slideshow with some music and just have the music playing at random with the photos playing on your screen. Nice thing about using a projector like this is it's great for temporary setups, right? If you've got company coming over and you want to show some pictures, project it on a white wall or on a screen or a piece of paper. Makes it real simple to set up for those occasions when you want to display photos. And yeah, the quality, I think it's probably coming across pretty good on the camera, but the quality is excellent. So I'm going to bail out of the photos, and we're going to go to, I'm going to go to movies. So I'm going to go back to the movie folder. And again, it's in the C drive. I'm in videos here now, and I've got a couple different videos that I've just put on, some of my own stuff that I've put on here. Now this might not work because I think this is at 60 frames. Yeah, that one's shot at 60 frames, so that one won't play. But that one will. And that one should play. And that one should play. Oh, it's the same one. Different resolution. Vancouver Aquarium should play. I shot this one years ago. This was shot on an HD 3-chip HD tape-based camera at the Vancouver Aquarium. A place that you can't go right now because it's closed due to the whole COVID thing. They are closed until further notice. But here I have the Vancouver Aquarium. I put this on tape. My cat's coming here to see me. I put this on tape. I'm going to say it was like 2004 maybe. This was recorded using a 3 HDV camera. Picture quality wise, it's very good. This one is, this is a series of still photos. This was compiled from still images. So there's no video here at all. This was all done with a still camera. As true time lapse. Sometimes I'll use a video camera and just speed it up because it's faster to just set it up and let her rip. These were all 24 megapixel raw images. Each image size was like 24 megabytes in size. It was just ridiculous to shoot all this. It was shot on a Sony Alpha 77. Anyway, I think we've seen enough video off this thing now. Let's take this projector apart. I don't see any screws on this thing. There got to be screws. They must be below these feet. And that's exactly where they are. They're below the feet. This one's probably below this. Yeah, there's screws, I think, down in here, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Now there's one down through here as well. So let's just remove the screws, pop this thing open, and see what it looks like inside. There we go. So the first thing we noticed is that the wires for the mains voltage do have some insulation over them, and the mains cord plugs into this little switching power supply, which is on the inside here. We've got our main input board. This is going to be the LVDS to the LCD panel, which will be down in here. So let's just remove that. I believe it was lifted up on the back here, and then that should unplug. So now we've removed the LCD panel. I can now remove the circuit board here. Off the side panels. There's a heat sink here for the exhaust fan. The LED will have a big heat sink on it for sure, because they do tend to produce a bit of heat. This is for the Wi-Fi antenna. Why I couldn't get my phone to cast on this thing, I don't know. It could just be a problem with my phone. I've never been able to get my phone to cast even onto my smart TV, so it could be just a problem with my phone, or I'm just not doing it right, which is very possible because casting from my phone is not something that I do. I'm sure it works. I got the message saying it was connecting, and the projector said connecting, and then the phone would disconnect. So I don't know why it wasn't working, but from my phone it wasn't working. Okay, there's the circuit board out here. We'll just unplug these two connectors for the fan and so forth, and I'll leave that antenna. We'll just take it off here for now, just so it's out of the way. That's the Wi-Fi antenna. I only stuck it down with one side, but okay. Now we've got the optical block can probably come out now. It's held in place by a couple of screws. So if I remove these screws here, I should be able to lift the optical block off the unit. Now the reason I'm doing this teardown, obviously, is so you guys can see what this thing looks like inside, so you can decide for yourself if it's something that might interest you. The link this came from Amazon, and the link is in the description. Couple more screws up front here, and this should lift the LCD or the cover off, if nothing else. Another screw up front here. I don't know if I need to take this off or not, but I'm going to take a look underneath it and see. I probably do need to take it off. Okay, this cover should lift off now. To reveal a blower, which keeps the LCD cool, a mirror which reflects the light from the LCD panel through the lens. This is the adjustment for the keystone. It's just a lens here that tilts back and forth. Here's our light source back here. This is the LED. There's a speaker here. That's the speaker. This is the wires, the driver for the LED. The LED is on the back here. It's got a big mirror around it, and it also has a cooling block It's could be using liquid cooling. A lot of times they use a liquid cooling in these temperature pipes. It could just be solid copper as well. But sometimes they'll use a liquid cooling, and usually when you see them capped off like that, it's because they are filled with a liquid. It helps conduct the heat away from the LED, because this LED is going to produce a lot of heat. It's a big LED, and it's going to produce a fair bit of heat. If we can lift the lens, I don't know if the lens comes out on this or not. It might lift out. Take out that glass. If we can lift out the reflector here, we can get a better look at the LED itself. So that's the reflector, and here is it's a cob type of LED that's in the back. The number on this one is an MTCM3834-03. So there's the LED that's providing the light. Again, it is very bright. This LED could easily be 100 watts of power. It's using for a LCD panel. It looks to be about a 4-inch. No, yeah, 4-inch. That looks to be about a 4-inch LCD panel. Like the last one of these I took apart, the base here has a sticky compound on it, so that any dust that gets into it and lands on the base is going to get trapped there, so it's not going to be blowing around and getting all over the inside of the projector and it's on the inside of the LCD panel. So I'm going to put the LCD back into its housing here. I don't know that I'm going to tear this down any more than it is, because I think you guys get a pretty good look of what's inside here. There's not a whole lot in them. You've got a fan that's blowing air this way, so the air is drawn in the back. The fan blows air out this way, which blows across. You can see here it blows across the LCD panel. From the LCD panel it goes into the intake for this other fan, which is a little blower type fan, which blows the air over the heatsink here to cool down the lamp. So it's got two fans. One fresh air coming in from the outside is drawn in. It's actually drawn in over here, right? So fresh air is drawn in through the openings on the side over the power supply to cool the power supply down, which is good. So it's going to draw air over the heatsink. Cool the power supply. That air is put under pressure through these channels that are in the cover. There's channels on both sides, as you can see in the cover here. That air under pressure is blown across the LCD on both sides. You can see one side of the channel here goes around through here, the other side comes around the other side. So you've got fresh air or cool air blowing across the LCD, where it's drawn in under negative pressure from the other fan, where it's exhausted through the LED or the LED heatsink to cool it down. That looks to be an excellent design. So time to put this thing back together and see if it works when it goes back together. So that goes there. We have this, it's a Fresnel lens that is used to concentrate the light, or to spread the light out, I should say, over the LCD. And that was down here.
And it only goes in one way. If you put it in backwards, you're going to have a bad picture.
So we're going to set the mirror back a bit. Put the Fresnel lens back in front of the mirror. That's That's what holds the mirror in place up against the LED. Get the fans back into their proper orientation, and then we're going to put the top cover back on. Now the reason it was taped here was obviously to keep the air pressure in here, because ideally you want all the air coming from the fan getting directed around and over the LED or over the LCD and then into the other exhaust fan for the LED. So we'll direct the wire back through and then one more over here. That's got the cover back in place. I'll put my tape back on here to keep the air pressure on the LCD so that we don't lose any excess pressure out here. Okay, now the circuit board can go back on. It's amazing how they've got so much technology now in such small, little, inexpensive units. If you remember just a couple of years ago how much projectors cost. I remember buying my first one, it was like, I don't know, I think I paid $1,500 for mine. It was a lot of money. And it might be a little brighter than this because it was a DLP, but it's still, technology-wise, I think the picture on this thing's every bit as good, if not better, than my old DLP. The DLP one was great, but the colors tended to be a little bit more on the washed out side. These LCD projectors that we're seeing today, the LED projectors, are very good. Let's get to plug the plugs all back in. Plugs only go in one way. That one would be for a remote receiver. I believe that's all of the plugs. Stick the antenna back down over the front here where it was before. And one last plug for the speaker. And this unit should be ready to power up. So we'll power it up before I put it back together. Plug the power lead back in. Apply power to the unit. And there's our LED lighting up. indicating that we've got power. That one should turn it on. There it goes. I can already see a picture here on the wall. A little close, can't focus as close to it, but I can see the picture. As can you guys. Well, you can't see the picture, but you can see the light coming out of the. You can see the light coming out of. There's a blue light on the bottom of this too, on the bottom of the board. That would be probably for this. I guess this is the. Maybe the receiver. Oh, this would be the receiver here, for the Wi-Fi receiver. This is going to be the brains to the unit, I think. Heatsink's getting a little bit warm. Just gives you an idea how much heat that LED would throw off. And that thing is bright. You can see it. You can see a bit of it down here. That thing is really, really bright. You can almost take that LED out of this thing and just use it as a room light or as a studio light. That would give off a lot of light. It's I can see it through here, and you know, looking down at it, it's you can't look at it. It's so bright. That thing is amazing how bright that light is. You know, maybe not up to the brightness of an HID bulb that would have been used in a conventional projector, but it's still, nevertheless, it's very bright. Going to put the side covers back onto this unit and then put the top on it and put it away. Anyway, this one's pretty much going back together. Link to this is in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.